Hi, everyone. I'm Keith Mathis with the Mathis Group. We are an ATP, a premier ATP with the Project Management Institute. Today on 7 Minutes to PM Mastery, we're going to talk about the PMP exam deep dive into conflict resolution strategies. Now, we're going to take each of those strategies and talk about those situations. Very common for the strategies to be on the test. It's listed in the exam content. And so you want to make sure that you understand when to use these and what's considered to be the best possible resolution for conflict, because if you're working in a team and you're working on a project, you're going to have some conflict. So let's start off with the percentage of the exam is about people. 42% of your exam is about people. Now, this is where conflict typically is set in. Is because it is about people, what happens is that you've got conflict, you've got teams. And so even though they say people, they're going to talk about all the different aspects of people. And conflict is obviously going to be a topic of that. Conflict's a team setting, is a common test setting for most of the questions. Conflict is typically dealt with by the team in agile settings and the project manager in a plan driven or traditional setting. Now, what will happen sometimes as you look at this is that you want to escalate some of it, but that's not typically the right answer. So don't escalate conflict to HR or to management or to the PMO. That's typically not the right answer on the test question. PMI really reinforces this idea that you are a responsible person and that the team has some authority, the project manager has authority, and that we confront the conflict at that level. Escalation is on the exam, but it is not something that you'll pick as your response. And so anytime they talk about escalation, that's probably not going to be your best answer. Yet in your real environment, you might be escalating everything to management if you're having problems with an employee or with a team member, or you might be escalating it to HR. And so don't pick those for the purpose of this exam. So 5 conflict strategies for the PMP exam. First one is withdraw, force and direct, compromise, smooth and accommodate, and then collaborate and problem solve. Most people will choose compromise as the best answer, and that's not the right answer on the PMP exam. So you want to be very cautious with this. Let's do a deep dive in each of these. So when we talk about withdrawal, it can function as an effective conflict resolution technique, frequently used as a temporary approach to let emotions cool, create room for contemplation. This is one of those where you're leaving the meeting, so nothing's been settled yet, okay? So it's crucial to apply withdrawal deliberately, judiciously, since indiscriminate avoidance of conflicts may fail to resolve the root causes. If I'm withdrawing, I'm not solving it. Typically, people prefer to avoid confrontation, and when used carefully, withdrawal can help reduce tension. So don't automatically pick withdrawal just because you think, well, I wouldn't want to deal with that in the real world, and so I would withdraw. When they say, what would you do? Withdraw, you're not choosing what you would do, you're choosing what PMI would do in those circumstances. Withdrawal is typically done to let emotions cool down. Force and direct. This is one where someone who has power is coming in to make the decision. So the force and direct conflict style is marked by assertiveness and a direct manner of communication. People who adopt this approach typically focus on their own objectives, confronting conflicts openly with clear and decisive measures. So they're pushing their idea, force and direct. That's exactly what it means. Although this style can facilitate rapid solutions, there's no real team to this. And so it can disregard the viewpoints of others. So dealing with conflict does not automatically mean a person is using force and direct. We had some folks in a boot camp, and they thought that if they confronted any kind of conflict, that was automatically force and direct. Force and direct, I'm not taking anybody's opinion into account. I'm making the decision. I'm calling all the shot. Nobody else is going to be part of this. That's more force and direct. Because you confront someone who's doing something is not automatically force and direct. It could be confronting them and problem solving. So it's not automatically force and direct. The other one's compromise. This is where people mess up. They think that this is the best answer. Compromise, nobody's resolving this situation correctly. So compromise, a conflict situation, involves both parties making mutual concessions to reach an agreement that's acceptable to everyone involved. It requires open communication, a willingness to understand differing perspectives, a focus on finding a balanced solution that addresses key interests while maintaining professional respect. This is not the best method for the exam and project, because we both are walking away with not exactly what we want, which could sabotage the project. And so, even though we're taught in our real life all the time to compromise, that might not be the best one. The next one is smoothing and accommodating. So, this focuses on highlighting points of agreement to ease tensions, whereas accommodating involves prioritizing others' needs over our own to preserve harmony. Both approaches seek to handle conflicts efficiently and foster cooperation, keep the project moving forward without extended disputes, but this has a tendency to focus on the positive and might not solve the problem after all. So it can be something that's very frustrating. Collaborate and problem solve. This is considered to be the best way to solve problems on a project. And so, conflict resolution strategy involves working jointly with all the parties to identify the root cause of the issue and develop mutually beneficial solutions. It emphasizes open communication, understanding diverse perspectives, leveraging collective expertise to address challenges effectively. This approach is highly valued in project management because it fosters cooperation and it ensures stakeholder satisfaction, and it leads to a sustainable outcome. So that's why people pick this. And so this is looked at by PMI and for your purpose of your test as being your best way of solving a problem. Now, that does not mean answer your conflict questions all with collaborate and problem solve. Read the question. They're typically putting a person in a situation and they're asking what would be the best method when it comes up. And collaborate would be one of those. And so watch your test questions very clearly and make sure you're picking up on the cues of each conflict strategy. So let me close out with this as we talked about conflict today. We're the Mathis Group out of Springfield, Missouri. We do virtual PMP boot camps every other month. We'd love to have you in a boot camp. Here's our information. If I can help you in any way, please contact me and I'll be glad to. Okay? Have a great day. Bye, everybody.